From the heart of Montana, this is Big Sky, Small World, Carroll College's student podcast.
Big sky, small world, like a mountain high Montana. Took it to the big sky.
All aboard, choo choo. Today we got quite a story to tell you all listeners of Big Sky, Small World. This is the train station workshop, where as a newly hired conductor, I will be guiding a non-stop run through the numerous topics my mind seems to think is so important to fixate on. All right, now we're going to do improv.
This is so great.
So, Alejandro, if I understand your timeline correctly, you first got into acting in college.
Yes.
Doing some plays, and that has now somewhat transferred into you becoming a monumental member of an improv group where your performance is demanded every second by the crowd, who hail you as the Spaniard Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Das ist correct. No, yeah, das ist the only thing to say, yeah.
May thou explain this concept of improv?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can explain, or yeah, you're going to explain.
What it is, improv is it's a club at Seattle U that we meet twice a week, and we basically just play games. We have 2 shows twice a quarter. For each show, we play 8 improv games that are all like around some theme. And so we have one next week, actually, a week from today. And it's called The Good D1, The Bad D1, and The Ugly D1, because we're D1 Improv. That's the name of our club. And so we're doing a cowboy themed show. And so we just come up with games, improv games, and then we just play them during practice. That's kind of the most preparation we do. We just play games during practice. We come up with what games we're going to play. We come up with like a little intermission bit, and then we show up and people show up. We don't make them pay because we're good. No, we're good, but we don't make people pay. And then we just hold shows twice a quarter, and it's great. It's really fun.
Let me just say that name is Chef Kiss.
Thank you.
Especially because Clint Eastwood, he filmed a couple of movies up at my cabin. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
At Mono County. I think the movie was A Man with No Name. Although that could be wrong, and I could just be yapping right now, but that's all right.
That's okay. It sounds right.
I also like that your name is D1, referring to you guys being D1 improv athletes. It's very important to articulate that.
We are athletes. Yeah. We're the most athletic group on campus.
So I know that, I guess it's free, but do you have tickets reserved for me in the VIP section?
Yeah, I do. If you want. So every show, we come up with an intermission halftime thing that we pull an audience member from the crowd. So I could just rig it and we'll just pull you from the crowd and we'll have you judge things in our show.
I am noticing a common theme here in fraudulent with you. First it's SU, then it's fantasy, and now it's rigging improv.
It's so great. So our first show was election themed because it was right before the election. And so what we did was you could come to our show and you could get registered to vote. So that was like the thing of our show. But as part of the show, we had 2 different sets of games that we could play. And we had 2 different D1 members be party leaders. And so one party was the Pussy Pussy Meow Meow party, and another party was the Clegg Stands. And we had 2 D1 members be the leader of the 2 parties. And each person, as they came in the door, they got a little slip that they could vote. Before the show started, right at the beginning of the show, we had each party leader give a speech about what their party stood for. And then we spent like 10 minutes and everyone just voted on which party they wanted to win. And that's the people who played the games. But while we were counting up the votes, I was the one supposed to be counting the votes. Me and another person named Tony. And we really liked Tony. And we really liked one set of games. We liked the Clegg Stand games. And so everybody voted, and we brought the voting baskets in. And then Tony and I were counting all the votes. And it was like pretty much even. I forget who won. But we looked at each other and we were like, it's Cleggstan. Like, we're just going to say that Cleggstan won. We counted the votes, and I think Pussy Pussy Meow Meow won by like 2 votes or something.
All right, next time, like if you're ever counting the votes, what you do is you walk on stage with the basket and you're like, looks like Cleggstan won. And then you have like someone planted in the crowd, obviously is like, hey, why is your shirt so stuffed? And then you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I denounce these accusations. My character is of the utmost standing.
Yeah.
And then reach into your shirt and it's like a bunch of votes that were not included.
I'm an upright and moral citizen. Yeah, we make sure that like.
Yeah, dude,
there's
if you get
only
the chance,
one
you got to
vote for
play that. You got to like add on to that. Be selfish. That's what acting is about.
Yeah,
Acting
that's
is not
the
a
number one
selfless.
rule.
Acting is not selfless. You're not embodying the character. You're embodying your ego and how it would act as that character.
Acting is you. You play the character as well as you can to get a part, and then once you get put on camera or on stage, you're just like, now it's me time.
You know, you sound like a perfect politician. Do you need a lawyer by chance? Or a
Yes.
campaign manager? Because as you can see,
Yes.
I'm really good at writing scripts.
I want you to be my puppet. I just want to be a puppet.
That's
I
right.
need you to run my show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This podcast is more scripted than the WWE universe. They are more real than what is being said here. I'm not even a real human being. I'm a robot.
That's right. I'm talking to an AI chat. This is 2 AI.
I'm talking to my AI girlfriend.
my AI girlfriend.
That's not being included. What would someone's schedule look like if they're interested in joining an improv group or your improv group, to be specific?
It would look like twice a week for an hour and a half. So we meet Sundays from 6 to 7:30 and Tuesdays from 7:30 to 9.
Is it
I'm late to that one sometimes.
Is it very cutthroat, would you say?
We have auditions at the beginning of the quarter.
Oh, wow. So
but-
people don't make the club?
Yeah, so some people don't make the club. But it's pretty laid back. It's pretty chill.
So we heard your audition and it was really good, but we recommend that you take some acting classes at SU just to, gain more of a foundation. No offense. You were really good. I thought you were fantastic, but
You're amazing.
we promised this other guy, his name's Alejandro, he's been trying out for a couple years. He hasn't gotten in yet. His mom's actually my professor, and she told me I can get maybe a 2% boost on my next paper if I just include him because, he's into physics, so he doesn't have a lot of people to talk to all the time.
He's a diversity hire.
Oh, my God. Actually, I think Montana would find that funny. I mean, how many people get turned down? How many people are not included?
This year was like half, 7 new people at auditions, and 3 of us made the team. Something like that.
Oh, so how many people are on the team? Is it like 2
11.
people? Okay.
It's 11. Yeah.
You're like 7 people auditioned
3
and only
people.
3 made it in.
Yeah.
And now
that was the entire team.
if we do some theoretical physics math here, 3 plus 4 is 7. So you take 7, you minus
go.
3, and that should equal plus or minus 4 because you don't know whether the 7 was a positive 7 or a negative 7.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or a whole number.
Do you have a specific routine you keep to?
I eat Indian food before our shows. That's it. That's my entire routine. I sleep before our shows. After the show, more than I normally do. And I drink coffee.
Do you invite your family and your parents?
My family sometimes comes.
Are they too embarrassed?
Well, okay. I like this game. So it's a game called Lover. It's what's called a line game. And it's at the end of our shows and the entire team plays. A lot of the games only like 2 or 3 or 4 people will play. But this game, everyone plays. And it's basically we just get a suggestion from people. Like it could be like trees or something like that. And then we play this game called Lover. And it's, I like my lover like I like my trees. And then you just say something. So it's like, I like my lover like I like my trees, climbable or like whatever. We've played that game at 2 of our 4 shows. Both of those shows, my parents were there and my teachers were there. And so it was really funny to like basically just make sex jokes and then look right at them.
That's so weird, bro. We're having such a good conversation.
Yeah.
Jesus, that just threw me completely off whatever
It's
train of
kind
thought
of
I
fun.
had.
That's a good game.
that thought
That
is
game,
gone.
that game is fun. That game and my movie. My movie is a game where we just get 3 letters and we make a movie.
Do you ever watch SNL?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of improv based. I mean, I know they do, it's all scripted, but they come from an improv base of comedy to be able to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
They're all comedians.
Me personally, I've never been to your show, but you should take some notes. It's being really rude, just passive aggressive. All right. Now we're on to the most important question of this segment. How would you categorize yourself as an actor? Firstly, we have method actor, and I'm going to give you the definition. And then for this one, I'm going to give you some quotes, and I want you to guess the quotes. All right.
Okay.
A method actor is someone who completely embodies the character, behaving and thinking truthfully as that character would in that era. Most notably, the greatest actor alive ever to live, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay.
I have abandoned my child. What's the movie from?
Taken. Nemo. Finding Nemo.
You're getting close.
Really? Okay. Rango.
No, There Will Be Blood.
Oh,
He's-
I was getting closer with Finding Nemo.
Well, yeah, because Finding Nemo, the mom dies and it's like bloody. No, actually, in Finding
'cause
Nemo,
Daniel Day-Lewis.
no, because in Nemo, Dory gets a bloody nose in
Dory.
front of the sharks. Remember?
And then There Will Be Blood. There's blood.
No, and There Will Be Blood. It's
or milkshake.
that's actually it. So you've seen the movie.
Get up. I've only seen that.
So, but actually, in There Will Be Blood, there is no blood. Actually, blood is a metaphor for oil. The pursuit of oil leads to blood, whatever. The next one, and this is probably the most famous of all the quotes.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm just a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Wait. Before you guess, let me do it again.
Okay.
I'm just a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
I really want to say The Big Lebowski.
No, this is a generational actor. Remember
I'm
those
just a dude.
Freak Man videos I would send?
Freak man.
It's a Marvel Rivals joke. Don't worry, it's appropriate.
Oh wait, is it Vin Diesel?
Is Vin Diesel Iron Man?
Is it Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes.
First guess.
Yes.
Is it Robert Downey Jr.?
Yes. Guess the movie. Remember the movie? You, me, Kaya, and Ian watched it
I'm just a
on
dude playing it. Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder, one of the greatest comedies / serious contemporary works of all time.
What do you mean, those people?
That was such a good movie. It would have been awesome if he won an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
Because he was method acting in that movie as
Yeah.
the sergeant, or it might have been
Yeah.
lieutenant, I'm not sure. Then he goes onto stage as the method actor to accept the award. Man, Hollywood missed out. I mean,
That would have been good, yeah.
that was a fumble of the century. All right, so we have method actors.
Okay, yeah.
Just so you know, for the rest of these actors, was just too lazy to find someone who was
And who did it?
who was renowned for that. So
Okay, so you just chose quotes.
no, I just chose explanations.
Okay.
So we have a classical actor. This is someone who is more focused on precision of their voice, body, and expression in relation to the script. This could also be Robert Downey Jr. too in Iron Man. They depend upon the personal connections to the character, which fuels their performance to be more engaging. Oh my God, this is literally Iron Man.
This is literally Ken.
No, that would be a Chekhov actor. All right. Next, we have a Meisner actor, which is more improv oriented, as you base your performance on reactions to what is happening around you and instinctually how you would respond to said situations. So like SNL kind of, your improv group. Then we have a Chekhov actor, and this is a more modern version of a character, acting where you would use your imagination and physicality to cultivate a believable and dynamic persona, as there is no one-size-fits-all approach, but you make your own approach. Chekhov actor would actually be Ryan Gosling in the loner, sad guy thing he does, like Blade Runner and all those other movies.
Yeah.
And La La Land. So which one are you?
So which one are you choose now?
Yeah, this is really bad. Sorry, guys.
No, this is great. Probably Meisner. I don't prepare at all.
Well, you should be
I
like a mixture of Chekhov / method.
yeah, that's the goal.
That's the goal for you because as a
That's the
Chekhov,
goal.
you just make your own approach. Like you do what you want to do, but then you also like you get into that character, like you get into
Mhm.
this new persona.
That's the goal.
I mean, you can reach it.
Yeah.
I
At the
mean,
moment, I don't prepare. I had a callback like 2 weeks ago for one of the leads in a play, and I didn't even read any of the things. I just showed up.
did you get it?
No, but I got cast in the play.
Yeah, it's what the local tree everyone steps on.
Yeah, it's the dirt.
So we understand that your kid really wanted to participate in this play, but as you can see, our roster is fully stacked. He can be a bushel with an apple on it.
He could be a tumbleweed. We'll roll him.
Yeah, he doesn't have any lines. It's actually better if he wears like something over his face so we don't see it. He should really get into his role.
Yeah, he'll do great.
All right. I mean, we kind of already touched on this, but what would you say was your most memorable moment, and especially your favorite character / improv bit you've done so far? Besides those two we just previously listened.
Besides what we've just done, I got to play the prince for like a little bit in Cinderella. That was fun. And there was one improv show where I played an undercover agent who was an undercover agent, an undercover agent that just wanted to be on the team.
I'm going to do a little monologue here. My favorite memory doesn't actually come from me, but from our good friend Ian, who told me all about his trip to one of your shows. How he sat right in front of your ex and your physics friends the whole time, hidden from the crowd, even from you. He remarked that the people behind him were totally obnoxious and talked politics the whole time about the nuclear threat in North Korea. And then, when he turned around at the end of the show to say something, he realized who it was and laughed. Now, knowing Ian, this makes it 1,000 times funnier because he's a very calm individual that doesn't get annoyed unless he's hanging out with either me or Alejandro. But he also loves getting involved in conversations with random people he's never met before. So if someone was walking down the street listening to music, he would go up and ask them what they were listening to only then respond saying how much he loved AC/DC to whatever they may have said. Isn't that true, Alejandro?
Oh, yeah. He just says hello to people. I think there was a guy tweaking once and he just said hi.
Time for some fun, wouldn't you say, AJ? After all that we have learned in this neat discussion, I think it would be nice if right now we set the new standard. We create a generational performance that will have acting students across the globe analyze the depth of our mastery in creating a heart-wrenching, sophisticated world of love and pain, joy and hardship, melancholy and redemption. What better way can we achieve this by doing a little improv? And I have been informed that you have prepared something for us today. Members of the audience, if you feel you're on the verge of tears, it is okay. Such mastery of this art can convey much more than the dialogue spoken out loud.
That's right. So what works best for just audio, we can play the alphabet game, which is just, we basically just do a scene and we go back and forth, but every time we start a line, it has to be the next letter in the alphabet.
Okay, that's a little bit of a problem because I'm paying for a college education here and I don't know the alphabet off the top of my head.
That's okay. We'll pull it up next to you.
All right, I am searching it. I am sorry, Mother. I know this college is expensive. I guess I'm not really learning.
The alphabet, which is good because I don't know the alphabet either. I'm looking it up.
Same brain cell.
I'm a STEM major.
Now they're giving me alphabet in Norwegian. I guess.
Ja, das will du an Norwegian see.
All right, AJ, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. We'll do a suggestion. Like a random.
Yeah, let's get
random-
ChatGPT in here. Let's start using some AI. We need to make sure they know we're friendly with them.
You know what? Let's use. I'm gonna use Copilot right now, and I'll get a random Copilot improv suggestion. Give me an improv.
Give me
suggestion.
word. Give me word now.
Here's a fun improv suggestion for you: a secret agent.
This is so cringe. I love it.
This is great.
This is
Okay.
going to be like the troll joke I made in the interview podcast with Henry Tan in his book Ashes of Eden, where I
Yeah.
where I equated myself to being a troll that wants shoes. All right, secret agent. Who's the secret agent?
Secret agent. We don't know. Just we just start.
All right,
I'll
go.
start. Always hello. Oh, anyways, I was walking down the street, and so I said hello to the man,
This
but
will
he
be
didn't
cut.
know what to say. Yeah. Could you say that again?
Don't you understand that I am a secret agent?
Eureka! I figured it out. My strategy has worked. I got you to keep speaking.
Fake news. I lied. I'm a liar. This is fake. Fake, fake, fake.
Go die in a ditch.
How dare you say such vulgar terms to me? I am just a friendly salesperson. I'm here to spread the word of our Lord and God, Jesus Christ.
Interesting. So you are like a prophet, like something of a Jesus figure.
Ja! That's what
Ja.
they say, yes, in European.
Cool. That's how they say cool with a K in Southern America.
Lame. That's how I respond to this whole conversation.
More and more, I am thinking that you are not a prophet.
No, I am the Muad'Dib, the shifter of the sands, the little mice, survives in the desert off of its own water.
Oh my goodness, that seems kind of hard, yeah?
Paul Atreides was my duke, and I saw him die on Arrakis, and I was filled with great sorrow until I saw him rise again as the prophet Muad'Dib.
Quebec is my duke. He sounds kind of similar. What?
Where is the Q? This alphabet
Quebec.
doesn't have a Q. It has an. Wait, did I just download an alphabet without a
An
Q?
O-P-Q.
It's just R. Rad, man. I mean, that's cool and all, but why are you still talking to me? I'm trying to get my groceries.
Something tells me you know things like the secret to the universe or whatnot. But I like groceries too. I'll go over there and get trail mix. I'm lonely.
Talk about a boring session of nonsense. I'd rather go listen to a podcast.
Understood. I know a cool podcast.
Vermont is a state. Vermont is a state. It is very average size, I think. People there may have Verizon for their telephone, but vehicle manslaughter is not allowed.
Wyoming is a state too. Waffles are the state bird, and Wow Wow Wubsy is good at
This is so bad.
Walloompas. Your turn, X. Go.
X gonna give it to you.
Why gonna give it to you?
Zebras have been debated to be a mixture of both black and white, but the question is there more white stripes than black stripes? Or is there equality in the manner of the stripes? And really, you should look at the hooves of the zebra instead to note its differences. That was so bad.
Yeah, we did it. That was so
Yay.
good.
Well, listeners at home, if you want to make your family happy, I don't know how that's possible, but
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
try
know.
the alphabet improv and just go to
Yeah.
ChatGPT, say, hey, ChatGPT, you're really cool. Because now AI thinks you're an ally. So you don't have to worry about Terminators. And like, you're really cool. Can you give me a prompt? And then you kind of do this. It's a family-friendly, fun game night.
I say thank you to Alexa every night before I go to bed. It's important to get AI on your side. It's a fun family game. Let's give a fake. Let's give Henry Tan a book review.
So you read the book.
I read part of the book.
So I'm not sure you're aware of it, but in the cover on my book, he has his autograph and he wrote a nice little message. Well,
Mine too.
I took out the
signed a
message.
picture.
I just cut it out with scissors. I went to a local printing store. I found the same paper that was used for this book, and I got the exact same cutout, and I reapplied it to that page. I wrote that Maclain will get 50% of all future revenue sales for any books out of this franchise. And his signature's right there, so I have my proof.
Oh, legal proof. See, that's what you get when you're a lawyer.
I'm sure if you listen to the podcast, right? You listened.
I listen to the podcast. I'm an avid listener.
So we did a segment where we read a
What if I
chapter. We read chapter 2, and you can tell that my reading skills have not
remember.
improved from 3rd grade. But we read that out loud, and Henry nicely admitted, again, further evidence that I sent him like 4 pages worth of notes on how to improve the book, and he's already implemented that. He said that verbatim, which again is more legal proof that I should be considered a co-author.
Yeah. Henry Tan is a ghostwriter in your novel. I'm going to give him a review.
Yes, give him a review.
He said, he told me this. I was just on Mac's podcast and felt very supported and heard. I interrogated him on major massacres that occurred worldwide and a deep philosophical discussion on Islam. It's a political statement about how brave it is.
Dude, it's crazy. I got a friend who's really smart at physics. He's done to multiple conferences. He's done all these things. I have another friend who's a neuroscientist. He's going into med school. He's written a book. I have another friend that's traveled across the country. He's now working as a computer scientist in this big firm. I have another friend that's in Japan, living the best of his life, enjoying life there, working hard.
Yeah, that's right.
And then there's just me. I'm living in my parents' basement, and I am struggling to get through college.
I'm going to drop out also.
Dude, if we dropped out, could we live together? But, like, not talk to each other ever?
Yeah, like, don't even acknowledge that we live together, but we share a bed.
Actually, I did make a bet with Henry about the upcoming Oscars, and the only thing we differed, I said Gladiator 2 would win Best Costume, and he said Dune 2 would win Best Costume.
Oh, Dune 2 is good. I haven't seen Gladiator 2.
I haven't either, but it's Rome. You know, they're probably going to give it to them. They can be very stylish. And so the bet is whoever wins, because we guessed exactly the same for every other category except for this one.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So whoever wins has to, we would have to travel to the other person's state, shake their hand, and then head home.
Like, that's it?
Yeah, but it's up to open when the handshake occurs.
I like this. I like this bet.
But the reason why I bring this up is that I would like to go surfing again, and I would want you to go surfing with me. I mean, I have the boards, and your parents are working. You're not paying for education, so you have the money to repay me if the boards break. But yeah, that's the bet. Make sure to remind him that he better travel and visit me because he hasn't done that yet.
Do you want to make a bet right now?
That you're gonna be here for my graduation?
Yeah, here, let's roll a dice.
Let's roll a D20 for persuasion.
Roll a D20.
What's my persuasion stats? I get +6.
If it's even, I'll be at your graduation. It was 14. It was even.
Oh, you'll be here?
Yeah.
For the whole week and a half? For the whole month?
For the whole year.
Like, oh, I'm here for your graduation. Cool. Oh, you're still here? Yeah, for the rest of the month. Well, thank you, listeners. I hope that improv's bit worked. I know it was atrocious, and you probably cringed the whole time. I think it's hilarious how bad it was because it just proves that you have to start somewhere. And right now, we are starting, and you are not. And that means we're grinding. We're one step ahead of you on every step of this race. And one day, you're going to look back and say, if I would have just taken that step with these two young, brilliant men.
Young.
With these youngs. Thank you, Big Sky, Small World. AJ, you have anything we want to say?
I'm honored to be here. Thank you. I'm crying a little.
Took her to the big sky.
Big Sky, Small World is sponsored by the Carroll College Communication Center. Helping the Carroll and Helena communities with presentations, multimedia, and podcasting since 2020. Find us in the library or email Director Alan Hansen at ahansen@carroll.edu.
Took her to the big sky.
It's recording?
It's going.
All right, perfect. Welcome to Backcountry Buzz, a segment where we talk about the outdoor sports in and around the gorgeous state of Montana. Every week, we will talk to a new guest that loves being outside, and they will tell us about their experiences with their outdoor interests. I'm Patty.
And I'm Miranda.
And we hope you enjoy.
Today, we have the return of Brad Maddock. It's a good title name in case you're wondering, Dr. Hansen. He is back to talk to us more about his stories in the outdoors.
Awesome. Thanks for having me back on the show. It's fun to be here again.
I appreciate you coming out.
So I think today we are going to just do some sort of maybe rapid fire questions depending on how fast Brad answers them. So our first question is, what is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you in the backcountry?
Scariest thing. All right. I have I have two different thoughts for this one. So first one is something that was like legitimately scary from like a danger perspective. And the second one is maybe just kind of a funny story of something that we thought was scary. But the first one, so we were coming out of this, so we backcountry skied into this hut, and we borrowed some friends' snowmobiles to like get in there, and then we had to ski the rest of the way in and then come out. And we had 4 snowmobiles, and they were all like super old from like the 80s and like early 90s. And some of our friends had to catch a flight, so they came out, they took the first snowmobile. And then the rest of my friends and I came out later, and there was 3 snowmobiles left. 2 of the snowmobiles didn't want to start. And finally we got one of them going, but then the third one, we just could not get to start, and we had to like leave it there. We were just like, we don't have time. Like we're running out of daylight kind of thing, you know? So we had to leave it there. So then we have 2 snowmobiles for all of us people getting out. I can't remember how many of us there was. So it was like 8 people probably. And we're going out, and it's starting to like rain. It was like a really weird, like February storm where it was like, I don't know, like 40 degrees and starting to rain. Well, we like, I don't know, something happened. We stopped, we turned off the snowmobiles, and all of a sudden the other one that we had trouble starting wouldn't start. And like, at this point, we're still like probably 6 miles from the car, and we're like getting soaked because it's raining, but it's like only 40 degrees and there's like snow everywhere. And so we're down to 1 snowmobile for like 8 people. So we're like doing these laps like back and forth to like try and get everybody like to the car, and like people are like trying to like ski and like get as far as they can. And I just remember looking at one of my friends and being like, nothing else can go wrong right now, because like I'm like on the verge of like hypothermia. I was like so cold and wet, and like it was like windy and just like raining and like 40 degrees and like just soaked like to the bone, and nothing else like went wrong. But it was just kind of like a scary thing where it's like you're relying on machines in the backcountry, and like, and granted, these were like they weren't even ours, you know. It was like this whole deal, and we didn't build in any sort of like margin of error for like if all the snowmobiles, there was 4 of them, like we thought it would be fine. But anyway, so that was pretty scary. And but we ended up being fine. And then my second story was, so my first year living in Montana, I was a student at Carroll. I graduated in 2012. So this was my freshman year. We used to have a fall break that was a week long. And we went up to Blackleaf climbing area, which is up on the Rocky Mountain front. And before then, we stayed at my friend's house for a couple days, and his dad just told us like all these stories about grizzly bears. And I grew up in Colorado, Patty. I know you grew up there too. Like we don't have grizzly bears in Colorado, so like bears are like, you know, they're kind of like whatever. Bears exist, but they're not like super scary. Well, he told enough stories that it was like definitely like in my head, you know, like grizzly bears are scary, you know. So we were going up outside the Bob Marshall Wilderness, one of the most concentrated areas of grizzly bears in the lower 48. And it was like a nice evening. We all go to bed. We're sleeping like outside underneath the stars. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, we just hear all of our pots and pans, which are like, you know, kind of away from us because we slept away from our kitchen, you know. They just all like rattle and like fall to the ground. And like, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a bear. Clearly there's a bear. So I'm just terrified. I turn to my friend. I'm sleeping next to 2 of my friends, Jennings and Grant, who I'm still friends with today. And I'm like, guys, did you hear that? And one of them really likes to sleep. And he was like, ugh. And my other buddy, Grant, turns to me. He's like, yeah, I heard that. So he like rolls away like underneath one of the vehicles that were like sleeping nearby. Well, I had this like sleeping bag system by Big Agnes that like my pad was attached to my bag, and I like couldn't roll. So I was like stuck. So I like zipped my sleeping bag all the way down to my ankles. And I was like, okay, here's the plan. When the bear comes, I'm going to get out of my sleeping bag because I have it zipped all the way down. And I'm just going to play chicken like around the truck with the bear. And then we'll like
Good
my
plan.
other buddy like will just be there. And I don't know, I guess he doesn't really care about the bear because he's sleeping, and hopefully I'll be able to get away. So anyways, long story short, I just, sat in my sleeping bag terrified and then cold at that point because I hadn't zipped my entire sleeping bag for like, I don't even know how long before we determined that it probably was not a bear. And yeah, we all went back to sleep. I think it was probably a chipmunk or something that just knocked over, or maybe the wind.
But still, you get that like
Oh, I
instinct.
was
You're
so
like,
scared.
oh my gosh. And
So
you're just, like,
scared.
about to poop your pants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are nuts.
It's funny because when you're in the tent, and you're not sleeping, it's so much scarier because every single noise around you is.
Oh yeah.
I went camping up at Blue Cloud, which is like a climbing area that's close by Helena, and my friend and I were in a tent, and we just heard so many noises outside, and we were like, obviously nothing that big can get up here because we were sleeping kind of like above where all of the climbs were, so it was like pretty high up. But we just kept hearing all of these noises, and we were like so freaked out. We were like, did you hear that? Every 3 seconds, and we were like in and out of sleep like the whole night. And then we woke up, and all of our we had bagels. I don't know why they weren't like put away. We were supposed to eat the bagels for breakfast, but we woke up and they were just like completely everywhere. And my climbing shoes were also eaten, but I don't know what it was that was out there. But it's so much scarier when you don't know in the tent. Like, it's not worth it to look, but also
It's true.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. So another question that we want to ask is, what draws you back to the outdoors again and again?
Yeah, I think this one's pretty simple. I think for me, it's just spending time with my friends and my family and building memories out there. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely nothing that beats that. I mean, like all of the adventures that I've been on and continue to go on, it's always the people that make the adventure, not necessarily the activity.
Mm.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, so, like, has there been like any really cool events that you've done with like just your family, like all together, like big trips or something like that? Like, have you guys gone on like a big backpack or?
My kids aren't old enough to do like a big backpacking trip. I took them backpacking for the first time last summer, but I think we go camping a lot, and we'll go on like big road trips and climbing trips where we're like, living out of our van for a week and climbing and whatnot, and kind of really feel like, we're away from, our normal day-to-day routines and just kind of living outside. And those are always really fun trips.
All right. So this next question actually kind of goes along with the first story you told. I was actually kind of wondering because you said you didn't have the stuff to fix any of the snow. Did you ever figure out what was wrong with them? Were you just going to leave the rest of them back there that you couldn't get started, or what was the plan for that?
Yeah. There was a retrieval effort that happened the next day. But yeah.
How far out were you?
I think the snowmobile portion was like 10 miles. So we had to ski in and out 3 miles, but then the snowmobile portion was 10 miles. So long enough that we kind of needed them, and we didn't set ourselves up for like enough time to be able to ski 10 miles.
Yeah.
10 miles is a lot.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So my question is, what is a piece of gear that you will never leave behind? This is kind of, I guess, dependent on the trip a little bit, but I think some things.
I think it's hard to say just one thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think in general, there's like, there's the classic like 10 essentials of like things that you should bring, right? But I think I'm going to like assume that we have, whatever we need for the activity we're doing essentially. And, just boil it down to basically like first aid / repair. Like a lot of times my first aid kits aren't just medical stuff. It's like first aid and then like repair for whatever I'm doing. So if it's skiing, like I'm going to have some ski straps and baling wire and whatever. If it's rafting, I'm gonna have a little patch kit, or it all needs to match what we're doing. But kind of those two things, to be able to deal with kind of unknown situations. And then the other is a paper map or a way to navigate that's not your phone. So I think you can really, like, phones are great. I use them all the time for navigation now. It's like hard not to. It's so simple. However, you can lose your phone. It cannot turn on, who knows what, and you need a backup, way to navigate. Otherwise you're just going off, what's around you, and that could get real really quick.
Yeah. So what's a survival skill you think every adventurer should master?
I think my answer to that would be just the ability to stay calm, kind of in the face of adversity. I think if you can stay calm and not freak out and just take a deep breath and kind of figure out what needs to be done in that scenario, I think you're going to be a lot better off than if you rush into, whatever you need to do, or are just generally freaking out the whole time. That's it. And it's hard to master. I mean, and that's kind of why, like, I thought of this. It's like your human instinct in those scenarios is to freak out, to not be calm. But I think to survive in a scenario where, who knows what's going on, the ability to stay calm, use your resources that you have to, make the best of whatever you need to do is really important.
All right. Well, this question kind of goes off of that. Kind of scared because Brad said that there's a bad joke coming that we might not understand, so I'm going to call it right now. Is there a time that you've had to make a really tough call?
So, have you guys ever seen the movie Vertical Limit?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's this crazy mountaineering movie, I don't know, probably from the 90s or early 2000s, and they're trying to climb, they're trying to climb K2 in the movie, but beforehand, they're climbing this rock wall, and I think it's like the daughter has her dad on the end of a rope, and the rope gets stuck, and she has to make the call to cut the rope. I've never had to make a tough call like that.
I would hope not.
I didn't know where this was going.
Oh, Brad, you got something to tell us here?
Yeah.
And that's why Brad only has 8 fingers.
No, honestly, I was trying to come up with an answer to this one. I don't really have anything that like sticks out to me as a tough call. I think most big decisions that I've made in the backcountry are all like collaborative group decisions, and nothing that has just been like, we have to do this now, and like this is the only option, like kind of thing, or like, and there's a 50-50 chance that it might work. Nothing like that.
Yeah, I know, like trad climbing, and you have to like free solo the final pitch because
no,
wasn't long enough or something.
That's an easy call, not a tough call.
Oh, gotta do it for the clout.
Yeah.
It's better.
All right. I'm excited to hear your answer. This is my favorite question. What is your go-to backcountry meal or snack that never lets you down?
Okay. Yeah. Super easy. It's Peachos. But not just any Peachos. Not just any Peachos.
Winco
There's a
Peachos?
particular brand. It's Albanese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Albanese. I mean, really, Albanese gummy products in general. Huge fan.
Not sponsored.
Albanese, if you're listening, please sponsor me. But the Albanese Peachos are next level. And, whenever you just need a little pick-me-up, you just pop in a Peacho, and, oh, man, really makes a world of difference. Yeah.
Patty, do you have an answer for that?
Oh, I do. Brad actually put us on. I actually never thought about this before, but it's like the pre-made like oatmeal. Like you put like all the stuff in. Like I know it's such a simple answer. Like you put like your milk in there, and you put your whatever, like the banana chips.
Yeah.
And that like I remember doing that on
butter
like
in there.
the first camp backpack that we did like as a group that first summer that we were camp leaders. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like begging people to like not finish their things. So they just gave it to me. And I was like the dumpster because I just wanted the oatmeal. Anyways, Miranda, what
Just
about
totally
you?
we're
mind
going
blown
around now.
over
But
the
yeah, we gotta
oatmeal.
hear it.
I don't know how this started, but mine's also candy. The nerd gummy clusters. I don't know when those got invented or whether they just like randomly got hyped up, but they're so good. Have you had those, Brad?
I haven't, but I've had like I grew up with Nerd Rope.
Yeah, it's
And it's like
basically
the
the
same
same
thing,
thing.
but
It's
it's got
just
the
like
little
small
chunks.
ones.
Yeah.
They're so good. But I think candy's a really good one when you're like on the trail and you're just like
It's so good for you.
dying. I know, it is so good for you.
Gets you like back in focus.
Yeah,
Low
low sugar
glucose.
buzz.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
One time, which I probably shouldn't tell this story, but when we were on the camp backpacking trip, we like put all of our food up and like, it was all safe. And all of our backpacks were in the tent. And I woke up at like middle of the night and I remembered that I had a little tiny Ziploc bag full of Nerd gummy clusters that were in like the hip pouch. And I was like,
Whoops.
I don't know what to do because all of our food is like tied up in the air right now and there's not a single space for like anything else. And I was like, if we die, we die. And I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone about this. And I was like,
why didn't you
this
just
is
down 'em?
probably bad. Huh?
You could have just solved that by just eating them.
I didn't think
immediately.
about that. I think there was a whole lot of them. Like I didn't.
Even
I wasn't
better.
prepared for this. This is like my deep dark secret that I haven't told anyone. But
Man.
I woke up and I
whole
forgot
world
that
knows.
it wasn't with the rest of my food in like the gallon bag that everyone put away, and I was like a little bit panicking.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just gonna go back to bed.
I'm sorry I have to tell you this on the podcast, but you can't be a camp leader anymore.
Okay.
Just fired.
Tired.
It's long overdue.
Hey,
So Brad, have you ever gotten really lost in the backcountry? And then if so, like what went through your mind, or like what's a thought process that you have when that happens?
Yeah. So my friend and I were we were exploring some trails in the Big Belt Mountains, not too far away from here, just kind of on the other side of Canyon Ferry for mountain biking. And, there's a lot of known trails out there that are good for mountain biking, but then there's a lot of trails that you're not sure, if they're good for bikes or if they're just better for hiking, if the grade is too steep or whatever. So anyways, we put together this like really cool loop, and we had a friend that was helping us, and he kind of shuttled us to make it easier. And so he put us on the top of the pass. We like went out and started doing this. I guess it wasn't really a loop. I guess it was kind of a through bike. And anyways, everything went really great. Then we turned off the trail on the ridge to go down this drainage to where he was going to pick us up. And we found the trail. We were going through, and then all of a sudden the trail just became like more faint and less visible. And it was, it was evening time. We didn't give ourselves a ton of time. And all of a sudden the trail just became like essentially non-existent. And so I guess you could say we were lost because we were just in the woods. I mean, we knew where we were, but we also didn't, and we're just like, okay, we're supposed to be on the trail, but now we're not. So we're just here. And, our other buddy is there. And we just have to get there. So we didn't have radios. Radios would have helped us in this scenario.
There's no service probably.
There was
like,
no
you're just,
service.
you're out
Nope.
there.
Nope. So we're just like, well, he's down there. He's going to start to get worried about us. And the fastest way there is at this point not to turn around, because we are already probably 10 or 15 miles away from where he dropped us off. And we just had another like 4 miles to go, except with no trail. And so anyways, we had our bikes, and it was just like all this like down logs, timber, and we had already like shouldering our bikes, handing each other bikes over things. Like it was just agonizingly slow travel. And we finally got through, it was just like, we know we have to go downhill. We're in a drainage. Like we can't really make a wrong turn necessarily. And so we just kept going. And then sure enough, we kind of got down to the bottom and the trail reappeared. And then we found the road that we had to pedal out to get to where he was on the other side of a gate. But yeah, so I think that's probably like the closest I would say I've ever been to like feeling lost like completely. I mean, I feel like all the other scenarios I can think of, it's kind of similar. It's like I always know where I am generally. It's not like I just it's not like I've just gotten like dropped off in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, I have no idea where I am. It's always like, well, like, I can follow, this creek down back to the trailhead, or who knows what it is. But if you know the geography of like the region that you're in, I've never felt super lost before, but that was a weird one for sure.
That would, what a day that would have been. Like, you just like think that you're gonna have this nice mountain biking day, and then it's like, oh, it's time to throw some bikes down some talus or scree or whatever in the drainage.
yeah And we called the Forest Service afterwards because we were like, hey, like, we had this experience on this trail, like, just wanted to ask about it. And they're like, oh yeah, that's no longer a trail, like the map that you are, all the maps, but they're outdated. We need to update that because we don't maintain that trail anymore. So it had just become like overgrown and trees had fallen over it and it was just completely gone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
That might become more like, I don't know about the Forest Service like thing that's happening now, but like that might become more common with it, just like like we're not gonna have as good maintained trails in the US.
Totally.
Really sad.
And trails like this that people don't use, Yeah,
like no one's gonna care about it. So it's gonna be a lot of volunteer work.
I have a question that I didn't ask you ahead of time. Have you or anyone you've been with on trips ever gotten seriously injured? Like you've had to evacuate?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, nothing super crazy. Honestly, the craziest thing I think that happened was on a camp trip. It was a freshman backpacking trip. One of the leaders,
of course, it was a leader.
Yeah, that was on the trip. She was just reading a book in this like little tree that was at camp, and like she was literally only like 4 feet off the ground, I would say. Like the tree had like a little Y and it had this like really nice like little spot to sit, It's not like she climbed up this tree like 20 feet in the air. Like she was just, I think any one of us would have like sat there. And she was ready to get down from the tree, and she decided to like jump instead of, I don't know, like turn around and lower herself down or whatever. And she kind of jumped, she was like kind of running to like catch herself, and she just tripped and her knee hit a rock, and like, like under your kneecap, how it's like really soft right there. Yeah. She like just like totally gouged that like spot in there. And it was fairly bloody, but not too crazy. And so we got her all like wrapped up and stuff, and like she was fine. And she could walk around, and we like hemmed and hawed and talked about it. And like, I mean, she definitely, I think, needed stitches. And then the other thing was, I was like, if you can walk right now, I was like, let's get you out of here and have you walk yourself out. Because I was like, if you lay down and take a nap or, stop moving and rest overnight, like I bet you tomorrow you're not gonna be able to walk, like that's all just gonna freeze up. And so we took all of her gear, put it in our backpack so she didn't have to hike with any weight on her. And then she was able to get herself out, which is kind of the best case scenario. It's like for somebody to like self-rescue themselves, essentially, where you don't have to carry a dead weight of a person. And then we got her down to the ER. I think we were closest to Butte, so she went to the Butte hospital. And then that's honestly probably the craziest thing knock on wood. I mean, it wasn't so bad, but I like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good one.
Mm-mm.
Have you had any? Well, you shared your alleged bear story, but have you had any other funny wildlife encounters?
Yeah, I had a funny experience. I was through hiking the Bob Marshall Wilderness one summer, and it was a really nice evening. We were sleeping out under the stars, and all of a sudden, and I was really tired. We were putting in long days of hiking, and generally I sleep really good outside, but all of a sudden something woke me up. There's footprints in our camp, and I was like, what the heck is that? So I woke up, and it was, I think this happened multiple times, but it was a deer, and it was this, the next morning we saw the deer, and it was this super scraggly, unhealthy, deer. And I had hung my hat, my ball cap, on a tree near my backpack, and it was all sweaty from hiking all day. And the deer was just over there licking the salt off of my hat. And I still have the hat. It has all these little nibble marks in it from the deer. It just nibbled but it was super weird, and it freaked me out until I realized what it was. And then I finally went back to sleep, but I didn't expect in the morning to wake up and have my hat be nibbled. I was tired enough where I was oh, it's just a deer. I think I threw a rock at it once and went back. And then the next time it came, I was oh, it's that deer again, whatever, kind of went to sleep. But yeah, that was kind of weird.
It's always the salt. That's what happened to my climbing shoes.
Oh,
I didn't think about it. So I just left my climbing shoes outside my tent because we had been climbing all day, and so all of my gear was out there. And yeah, there's several just ripped. It just ate all of the shoelaces, so they were kind of. Once I replaced the laces, they're kind of salvageable, but there's a lot of just rips in the sides of them from that. And mountain goats are the same way. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Mountain goats, love salt. Yeah, mountain goats are classic for licking urine and whatnot. So if you're in an area with mountain goats, make sure to be away from camp.
Leave something for them.
Okay, this is the last question. I think it's a good last question. How has your relationship with adventure changed over time? I think because you went to college at Carroll, and so I feel you've had a good time being a student and adventuring, and then getting to kind of be in this role where you're leading other students in that activities and getting to share that with your family and everything. So
yeah, I think just over time, I think I have less time now to go on adventures. So I think I've just become more appreciative of the time I do get to go on adventures, whether it's with, Carroll students or personal adventures or, with my family. Whereas back in college and post-college, I kind of had all the time in the world, to do stuff and no other big life responsibilities. And I think I just took for granted, I definitely took advantage of all that time. I definitely went on a lot of adventures, but in retrospect now, I'm just really appreciative of the time that I get to go on adventures, and it makes it that much more special.
Yeah. What about risk aversion? With the family now, were you more inclined to do riskier stuff when you were in college, or is it kind of
honestly? I think it's not really. I would never say I've ever been super into doing risky things. I've always been fairly risk averse with all of my activities that I do, and I feel I've always had a pretty good understanding of where that line is, at least for me. So I've really generally kept that that same philosophy. And I don't think that's changed a whole ton, having kids, and whatnot. I think I still make the same decisions. I'm yeah, that sounds sketchy. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to walk around this rapid, or who knows what. Yeah.
It's interesting insight.
Yeah. But I also think that I've also developed more skills as I've gotten older as well. And like, I think in general, I'm better at all of my outdoor sports now than I was in college as well. And I think that comfort level and skill level also prepares me to, I guess it makes those risky situations less risky.
Yeah. That's kind of a cool thing to realize. We get introduced to all this stuff in college as like college students. You can only just build from those experiences. So it's good to, branch out in college and figure out what you like.
Who's your favorite people to go do things with?
Who's my favorite people?
Not that
man.
we're gonna tell anyone.
No,
but
honestly, I have so many awesome adventure partners out there. It really depends on the activity. I have quite a few friends from Carroll College that I still love to go do adventures, with. I mean, I was talking about my two buddies, Grant and Jennings, that story earlier. I still hang out with them. Jennings lives in Oregon, but Grant lives here now. And my buddy Kyle and Paul, I met all of them at Carroll, and, I'm always hanging out with them. But then, the Helena community is awesome. I have so many, new, friends and whatnot that I've met, that didn't go to Carroll, but I know through the Helena community. I'm not going to list everybody off, but it really depends on the activity, but I'm very fortunate to have a good list of folks to pull from for adventures.
Living the dream, Brad. Yeah, is there any other questions or
that's it?
Anything else you want to say, Brad, about any of the stuff we said, or any extra stories or anything?
No.
Words of wisdom.
Give us a quote.
I think just get outside as much as you can. So, I guess for like college students in particular, my advice would be that, you're never going to remember all of the parties that you went to for multiple reasons. One, you just might not remember because you partied too hard. But two, just because it's really not that cool.
Once
and
you've been to one, you've been to a mall kind of thing.
But your outdoor adventures that you go on, you will always remember. And so, you're only, in college, or I guess you're only your age, once. So take advantage of it and make good memories and go on lots of adventures.
Wow.
That was even better than I was hoping for. So great.
There you go.
Thank you for being on the podcast again, Brad. And thank you for listening to Backcountry Buzz on the Big Sky, Small World podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Nice quote.
Big sky, small world, like a mountain high mountain alone. Took her to the big sky.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Sky, Small World. Theme music by Alex Coulter. Please follow and leave comments on Instagram at bigsky.smallworld. Tune in next week.